Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about how I have my desktop set up to help improve my productivity. So it's slightly different from the previous videos, even if it's along the same lines, right? So I do all of my development on a Mac, on my MacBook Pro, and here is how I have it set up. I have 5 desktops. I have more sometimes, but on an average, this is how I have it laid out. I have 5 of them. Let me call it D1, D2, D3, D4, D5. Unfortunately, OS X doesn't let you name the desktops, but I'm just going to give them a name. Here's how I have it set up, right? Let me increase the size a bit. The first one, I essentially have a browser. Oh, that's too big. And I don't have any more than like 3 or 4 tabs at any given point of time. And here I split it into 4 parts essentially, and these are roughly the sizes. And I have my IDE here, and depending on the project I'm working on, it could be RubyMine for JavaScript or Ruby development, or Eclipse if I'm doing Java development, or Android work. I haven't done very much Android work, but just whenever I do anything Java related, I obviously use Eclipse. What else do I have here? I have Insomnia, which is like Postman, except it also has support for GraphQL and REST. That's 3. Fourth, let me check. What do I have here? I sometimes have a terminal session, but in this case, I have a MongoDB client. I use Mongo Booster. And if I'm doing MySQL or Postgres work, this typically replaces that spot. So the orientation changes a little bit based on the project and then what I'm doing on any given day, but it's kind of along these lines. So hopefully it'll help someone else. Hopefully, yep. So D2, the next one, I also have a browser here. And there's a method to the madness. If I'm working on, say, if I'm on D1, which is my active desktop, I have my Ruby docs or Java docs or Ruby gems and Node modules, all of the documentation here. So I have a quick way to reference it. On the second desktop browser, again, I have no more than 3 to 4 tabs at any given point of time. One of them points to a GitHub repo. The other one points to Trello, which is what I use for bug tracking. And other such tools essentially, right? And then I also have an IDE here. In this case, because I am working on an app that's split into 2 parts, API and UI, but at other times I may or may not have a second IDE here. I have a terminal session, and sometimes I also have a second terminal window here, and this one will also have 2 to 3 tabs. I might be running daemon processes, tailing development logs or other logs, running Mongo processes and whatnot. So those types of things happen here, and I have different colors for the terminal windows and different sizes. So visually it tells me what each of them is meant to be doing. The third window, the third desktop, right? I have CodeKit. This is what translates HAML files to HBS. Essentially, I write HAML code and it converts them to handlebar templates for my current product. That's one. And I also have GitHub Desktop here, which obviously I use for all GitHub related activities. And I also have, I did mention the GitHub window here. So I do code compares and whatnot using this tool. On the fourth one, it's kind of a fluid desktop, but I have a variety of things depending on the type of work I'm doing. It might sometimes have an IDE like RubyMine. It could have Sublime or TextMate, because I do use them on NAF. I have some stickies, etc. Right, so that's pretty fluid. And the last one, I have my email client, which is almost always turned off when I'm coding, and then I have Slack in this window. That's essentially. And then if I start a Zoom session to do a screen share or talk to my remote developers and then my remote team members, I use that. That's kind of the usual setup, but I do try to move. I do tend to move these around. So sometimes I'm pulling this here, pushing this other one over there. But that's essentially phi. Occasionally, I do end up creating D6 through D10, but that's sometimes a little overwhelming, even if each one has specific significant meaning as far as I'm concerned. But 85% of the time, I want to say I probably live in a phi desktop local machine environment. Cool. Hopefully, it's useful to some of you. Thank you.